On the 22nd of July, Nathaniel Katz hosted a community music and sustainability festival at his home at 150 Pond Road on the edge of Wellesley. I was lucky enough to be able to film and document the event, meeting and speaking with many local community leaders in sustainability. Food and drink were supplied, such as pizza, watermelon, and delicious lemonade. A small donation was requested but not required. The donations from the event went to the local artists and to local food banks. There were also local musicians playing music throughout the entire evening. The music from the evening can be found in part 2 of this video. 150 Pond Road also featured a fully fledged garden built by Amy Sullivan of Edible Gardens by Sully. A tour was given, and guests could see many plants growing, like soybeans, dill, turnips, and cucumbers, carrots, watermelon and squash, leeks, horseradish, and apples. Also supplied were some free plants available for visitors to take home. I then had the opportunity to speak with several of the vendors at the event.
It is. I'm a local beekeeper, and just as a hobby on the side, I started making candles from the leftover beeswax, and then I started looking into using honey to make homemade soaps.
Oh, wow.
And it was just kind of for fun, and I started giving it as gifts, and some of the people I gave it to gifts a few years ago said, "Oh, can you make some for me to give as gifts?" And so they said, "You should toss up a website." And so I did, and so I've just started making different things and really had fun with it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
When did you start doing that?
So I started doing it just before COVID. So beekeeping is really the main thing. But it's not my day job. I'm a writer and a journalist by day. But I started doing this probably about 4 years ago, and just became a very engrossing hobby. I mean, it's really about the bees, because they really need all the support they can get with, the environment and the pollination gardens.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
If someone wanted to get involved with, if they cared about the bees but they didn't know how to start, what would you recommend to get them started? What kind of resources, if you had any?
Well, there's a really wonderful association for our county, and it's called the Norfolk County Beekeepers Association.
Okay.
And they have meetings once a month. They've got a lot of online resources. Membership is something like $25 a year or something, and they offer a beekeeping school. And so you can do it, I think it's 6 months of the year, and it's a wonderful way. You get assigned a mentor, you learn so much, and it's such an ongoing process, learning about taking care of bees. There is so much about their ecosystem, watching out for the parasites and pesticides and all the kinds of things that affect them, and you really need to become an educated beekeeper for their sake. And so it's a wonderful way to get involved with an entire community of people who will teach you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's awesome. If someone was interested in your wares or your services and wanted to reach out to you, how would they do that?
I have a website. It's thehivelives.com. So it's just, and I'm here in town in Wellesley. A lot of it's word of mouth. They'll say, hey, do you have any soaps? I want to give some soaps as a gift. Sometimes people will say, will you make me a whole loaf of soap? I'd like to be able to give it as gifts, and then they want to customize it. And so I'll say, okay, we'll do a lavender scent. We'll use pink clay. We'll use some chia seeds and Himalayan sea salt. And so it's kind of like soap made to order.
Right.
But there's so many things that people don't know about, that when you talk about sustainability, soap that you buy in the supermarket is actually not allowed to be called soap because it doesn't have enough natural ingredients. And so the FDA actually calls them Syndet bars, and that's short for synthetic detergent, because it's so many chemicals to make it, froth up and get, lathery and, have a certain smell. So it's actually not soap. So if you look at the boxes, it will say like bath bar or beauty bar.
Right. So yeah, it's kind of what they make what the consumer expects soap to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's not natural. And
right.
So, the soap that I made, I just made this last night, and it has pink clay. It's got ground oatmeal and honey, chia seeds, Himalayan sea salt, turmeric, which is good for anti-inflammatory properties, and it took me about an hour and a half. And it's, you can just kind of make it at home, and it's lots of oils, all natural oils, avocado oil, olive oil, safflower oil, grapeseed oil, aloe vera, all kinds of things.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
Just the importance of not using pesticides on your lawn, because that really affects the bees all over. You know, they fly, they get it on their wings, they bring it back to their hive. It makes the brood grow deformed. So there are a lot of different ways that you can treat your lawn. And just to know the difference between, bees, they're not wasps. You don't need to swat at them and kill them. Take a time, to look into what they are, because they don't want to sting you. They really don't, because it's the one kind of bee that will sting you and then die. So. Yeah, so it's all about education.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm from the Natick Community Organic Farm, and we are just down the road in Natick, and we are here because this is a community event, and we like to be present at community events because we're a community farm. And so we have organic vegetables and flowers for sale at the farm, and then we also have a livestock community at the farm as well. We are free to visit every day of the year for families that want to come and just walk around the farm, and so everyone can come and learn about farming and sustainable techniques and things. So being here this evening and raising awareness about local farming is really important to us.
That's awesome. How long have you been involved with this?
I have worked at the farm for a year, and then I was volunteering there for a year before then. So yeah.
Do you know the address of that?
Yeah, it's 117 Elliott Street. Natick, MA 01760.
Awesome. And then what do you have on sale there?
So we have a few different things. So we have the hot sauce here. We've got the red and the green, and this is made from ingredients at the farm. And then one of our farm community has made the hot sauce. And then this is local honey. It's not our honey. We are hoping to have our own honey maybe next year. So this is from the Boston Honey Company. So we work with them to sell their product as well. And then we have some cards that have been designed by people in the local community. So this one is from Eliza, who is a previous TerraCore member at the farm, and she designed that last year. And then we have another one here with some nice goats, and then we also have some events coming up where we are having some summer evenings at the farm. Next Friday we're doing some flower pounding, which is where you hammer flowers into material here, and you make make patterns on fabric. So we've got a few different things going on here.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. If someone wanted to get in contact with you guys, reach out, and how would they do that?
They would email us at info@natickfarm.org, and then follow us on various different social media platforms. We're Natick Farm for both Facebook and Instagram. It's just at Natick Farm.
Right.
So.
Do you have a website or anything like that?
Yeah, it's www.natickfarm.org.
Yeah, so basically I try to make as ethically sourced jewelry as possible. So I work with a lot of bone, ethically sourced animal bones, my resin jewelry, all like the best resin you could find, no VOCs, no toxins, safe for your family and pets, very important. And then a lot of wire wrap jewelry. I try to use vintage cabochons, vintage jewels, repurposing, old jewelry that no one wants. Yeah,
definitely recycling.
Yeah, exactly. Reduce, reuse, recycle. So a lot of research, obviously. That's the hardest part, a lot of man hours. So the bones, I either forge for myself, or I have a bone guy that lives in the boonies in Maine, like totally off grid, and just spends hours in like the woods finding stuff. Right. In terms of my wire, that's pretty easy to find, but like a lot of my vintage gemstones, they actually come from estate lots. Really? So lots of jewelry that nobody wants, I just kind of deconstruct it and then remake it.
Awesome. Yeah, like yard sales and stuff.
Yes, love yard sales. Yep.
If people wanted to get some of your products, how would they do that?
So you can just search my shop. Grab this here. I'm called Mementos and Marie. It's MEMENTOS and MORI. Okay. Yep, and I have an Etsy, a TikTok, an Instagram, all that good stuff. Plenty of ways to find me if you just look a little bit. Yeah.
Really awesome.
Just very happy to be here. There's quite the vibe. Everybody's super nice, so definitely a nice place to be.
Yeah, thank you for coming out.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so as many people discovered interest during the lockdown of COVID, I started woodworking. And one of the things I quickly realized was supply chains were breaking down, and so our usual kind of standard ways of finishing wood with, polyurethane, petroleum-based products, acrylics, were often not available because they were having to be shipped across the world. And so I started thinking like, whoa, we have this incredible abundance of wood in this bioregion. Like, how could we sort of more relocalize and resustain, make more sustainable the ways we finish wood? And so jewelry just became a really fun and creative way to explore that question. And so everything I make is made for dancing. Wood is amazing, right? Because it's super lightweight, super strong. So then I've got I started experimenting with natural botanical dyes. And I think I'm one of the few people in the world using botanical dyes on wood. And I'm loving how those are turning out. And then, using a combination of oils and shellac to finish the wood. And then using, like over here is just the natural wood colors. Like a lot of that are my neighbor's trees that they pruned. They're apple trees or a maple tree that came down in a storm that I cracked into and started working with. So yeah, I'm trying to use wood more sustainably and kind of approach big questions of climate change and the changing, system of global economics so that we can, approach really scary questions with some creativity and some joy.
I know you said you got started at the beginning of COVID, but what kind of inspired you to start exploring woodworking?
I needed to do something with my hands. Yeah, I've always had sort of like brain work kinds of things, and I was also finishing a PhD during that, and I just needed something that was material, and I needed problems that had solutions, right?
What'd you do your PhD in?
In American Studies. So totally different. So I wrote about the history of the American torture program from,
It's quite a leap.
Cold War to the present. Yeah, exactly. Very different. So it was also like, here was something that was like beautiful and joyful,
right,
and not just a meditation on all of the evil of the world.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
So,
I can imagine you would need that.
Yeah, exactly.
Doing a deep dive.
Exactly.
Well, if somebody was interested in buying from you, how would they do that?
See my website, which is tenderfirestudio.com.
All right.
Yeah.
And then anything else you want to say? Anything?
No, it's just really great that so many more people are feeling just sort of empowered to put together gatherings with a purpose. And a sustainability festival is super fun, and what a sweet thing to have with, Wellesley folks and beyond.
Sure. So I'm here today representing the Friends of Brookside. We are a neighborhood community association. We are on the east side of town, and we're dedicated to protecting Longfellow Pond, the Brookside Gardens, Brookside Road itself, and Centennial Park.
Awesome.
Yeah, and we support those by having neighborhood cleanups and sometimes holding programs that just educate and inform people about how valuable this whole area is, because it provides clean water for our town. It provides natural habitat for our wildlife, and it's just beloved in town for recreation as well. People are hiking and snowshoeing and biking, so we're just really just all about protecting it from any threats that might come our way.
Yeah, definitely.
So we have about 400 members that we email to, and people get together. Most recently, there was a garlic pull, and there were like a truckload of garlic mustard. That's that white invasive that comes up in the spring, and it looks so pretty, but don't let looks deceive you. It's very invasive, and it gives off a toxic substance that keeps native plants from growing. So people got together and did a bit of a garlic pull.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Any other events like that?
Not coming up right now, but we're always in the offing, so.
That's awesome.
Okay.
If people wanted to get involved, how would they reach out to you guys?
Sure, we have a website, www.friendsofbrookside.org. You can also email us at friendsofbrookside@gmail.com.
Awesome.
We'd love to hear from you.
And then, so can you tell me about your stall and what you're promoting today?
Sure. So I have a store in Newton. It's in Newtonville on Washington Street, and it's called Fulfilled Goods, and it is the only low waste sustainable goods store in the area. That's another, the buzzword term is zero waste store. Thanks. I avoid the term zero waste because I feel like that's a level that's hard to achieve, so I don't want to turn people off. So all of the products I sell are intended to be package free and plastic free, and I have bulk food items that are I have food, I have personal care items, I have cleaning products. Today, the one bulk item I have, or refillable item I have, is mosquito spray, because I thought that we would need it tonight. And then the other items I have are just other things that are replacements for kind of your more traditional products. So like instead of, a plastic jug of laundry detergent, I have laundry sheets. I have lip balm in compostable containers, and these are awesome. These are made by actually a local woman who has a micro factory, and she takes chopsticks that are from different stores, different restaurants, and then cleans, sanitizes them, and presses them and makes them into things like coasters or dominoes and other fun stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really smart. I didn't think about the laundry detergent container. That's great. Yeah. And then how long have you been doing this for?
I opened in September.
Oh wow, good for you. So really fresh. That's awesome. How's it been so far? How's your experience?
It's been great. It was a little bit of an experiment to see, if I build it, will they come? But what I found is a lot of people are really excited about it. I have people walking in every day. Some people have, moved to the area, and there used to be stores like this where they were from, like if they're from California and other areas, and other people who were like, I've never seen this before, but it's a really cool idea. So it's been fun.
Awesome. That's great to hear. If you wanted to learn more about you guys and maybe order some stuff, how would they do that?
So I'm on the web, I'm on social media. So the name of the store is Fulfilled Goods, so fulfilledgoods.com or @fulfilledgoods. And a store is in Newton, so come on by and check me out.
Awesome, that's great. Is there anything else you wanted to say? Any messages you want to promote?
Yeah, I guess the big thing is that it's kind of what I've tried to do is make it easy to make the switch, and no matter where you are in your plastic waste journey, that there's lots of options, and people find that there's a lot that's really easy things to do to make a switch that aren't expensive, save money, and are good for the planet.
It wasn't until the end of the evening that I was able to speak to the man of the hour, Nathaniel Katz. Here's what he had to say about the event. So I wanted to ask you about the event tonight. What kind of inspired it, and what was kind of the process of going about creating it?
Well, we've been asking ourselves what the right way to live in this world, and how one can produce the food that one needs, and produce whatever one needs to meet one's material desires, and how to do it in a way that doesn't screw up the planet and screw up the ecosystem. Yeah. And so we've been working hard at that for the last few years, trying to learn these skills ourselves. And it just seems like it was the time for us to open our home up to people and share some of those skills that we've learned.
Yeah, thank you for doing it, because it's such a lovely home, and it's great to see the fruits of you guys' labor.
Thanks.
Yeah, do you want to talk about your garden? Like, how did you start, and what have been kind of the struggles of maintaining it?
Well, we started little by little, just with a few small beds. I had to take down a bunch of birch trees, and I needed to figure out what should I do with these birch trees. Right. And so I had birch trees, and I wanted to raise beds in a garden, so I put two and two together. Yeah. And instead of paying someone to haul away the birch trees and paying somebody else to bring in lumber for a garden, the light bulb went off to just do it here and do everything here. And that's really been the watchword, is try to minimize the inputs and minimize the outputs so that we can just be sustainable. I'd say the main hard lesson that we've learned here over time is to build your fence before you plant your garden, because there's so much pressure from animals of all different kinds here that most of what we planted for the first few years got eaten by the local wildlife, which is fine in one way, but if you're going to grow food, you want to be able to eat some of it yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
And so we continue to sort of build more infrastructure, build more fencing, and try to get it to the point where we can enjoy the fruits of our labor more.
That's great. That's awesome. So do you want to talk about some of the people that you had here tonight? Like some of the people with booths and some of the artists that played tonight?
Oh, yes. We were so fortunate to have a great crowd show up who were not only thought partners in helping pull this little festival together, but also in just making it what seems to be a rich experience for the people that came. Yeah. So, for example, Amy Sullivan from Edible Gardens by Sully, who helps me in my garden, she came and brought a number of people and helped teach some skills. And then we had Michael Tobin from the Wellesley Conservation Land Trust, and other friends of Brookside, and other local folks who are interested in preserving this precious environment that we all live in. We had local craftspeople who focus on making beautiful things from what you can find, lying around in the forest. And we had a wonderful beeswax woman from Wellesley, Nicole Bernier, who makes beautiful things out of things that her bees make,
Right.
beeswax candles and such, jewelry made from bones that are foraged, and all sorts of things. And luckily, with the Native Community Organic Farm, which is kind of our big partner, down the road, they came and offered some beautiful words of wisdom from their perspective. Hopefully, we'll be able to do more with them. So yeah, we had lots of local support. It was a very synergistic experience for everyone.
Yeah, that's great. That's great to hear.
And Siobhan, whose last name I can't remember, just finished performing, which really galvanized a lot of attention. And before her, Matt Schifrin, another local performer, to bring some beauty to our interactions.
Yeah, that's great. It was such a beautiful vibe here, and I'm really happy I came. So what else? Was there anything else that you wanted to say? Like any messages that you want to send out to anybody about being sustainable in Wellesley or anything like that?
I think everyone can take one step.
Yeah.
And where it can be helpful to anyone to just take that one step. I think it's important just to pick something that interests you and pick something that you like that's doable, and not worry about it being too big. And we can all take a step together and move our mission forward of living sustainable and beautiful lives.
Yeah. And then I want to ask, do you think you'll do this again? And if you did, what would people do to reach out to you if they wanted to get involved?
Anybody can send me an email. My email address was on all the materials that went out. So I'm very findable. Nathaniel Katz in Wellesley. It's easy. I'd love to get suggestions from people, especially if there are skills that people will want to learn, even if I don't know them, somebody does. And I think maybe we'll do something in the fall when we're learning how to harvest apples and make hard cider to get us through the winter.
That'd be great.
Yes, fall pumpkin apple thing could be a lot of fun. We'll see what kind of feedback we get,
right?
and what people want.
That's great. That's awesome. That's pretty much all I had to ask you. Thank you very much for your time.
And thanks to you, Luke, for all your support and your enthusiasm. It's you were a very important addition to this event from my perspective tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate it. This video is part 1 of 2 of the Community Music and Sustainability Festival. The second part features music from the local artists. Be sure to check it out.